Good morning, y'all. Kimberly has been gone for 2 weeks in Florida, spending some time with her folks, living the good life there. She loves the bingo, a little sunburn, but I thought, let's not wait for her to get back. We'll go ahead and shoot a video. I've been wanting to do a video about Clifford. Clifford is our 1995 F350 dually. It's the 7.3 liter diesel. It's an automatic to get him to become the perfect RV hauler. Really, primarily, I want to show you how I set up kind of my shop, how I set up to work on Clifford, and I'm very comfortable and have all the tools I need to do most every project that we do, no matter where we're at. We're going to show you some of that today. First, super important, got to get the coffee in, got to go do a little bit of reading every morning, try and do a little bit of reading and meditating, praying in the morning. I think it's super important. Get your day started off right. Like dedicate those first few minutes to God. So we're gonna go do that, and then I'll take you outside here and show you the works area we set up, and we'll talk a little bit more about Clifford and our plans for Quartzsite this year. Let's go. Okay, time to go to work. Okay, it's time to go to work. I'm gonna take off this nice jacket that Kimberly and Autumn got me for my birthday this year. She'd kill me if I wore this while I was working on the truck. Get on our grungy clothes, and I'll take you for a little sort of guided tour of how I carry tools, what tools I carry, and how I set up to work on the truck when we're out in the middle of nowhere. Today we happen to be at my buddy's place, but out in the desert, but I've done this out in the middle of Quartzsite and other places as well. So let me get changed real quick. Okay, so this is the old sweatshirt I used to wear back in the day when I was coaching high school football up in Big Rapids, Michigan. It's a few sizes too big, but it's perfect for what we're doing here. All right, so first thing I want to show you is kind of how I've started setting up. Now I just started doing this trick here that I'll get to in a minute. But most of this I've been doing for the whole time we've been traveling, and sometimes in my driveway at home. So first off, I just have one of these tables that can go to different heights. It can go to like a countertop height right here. Those make an excellent workbench. They tuck right into the camper in a different place or in your truck, depending what your setup is. But they're great for having your tools handy while you're working. You can see this one here. It's taken a lot of abuse. I've actually had that table since we've been on the road now like 5.5 years, and I think I had it for 5 years before that. So that's been a very good investment. I use something similar for my desk too, if you've seen that in some of our other videos. Anyway, start with a good work surface here where you can put your tools and everything to have them handy. If I'm working at the front of the truck, I'll move that right up there at the front of the truck. I've done this before. I don't know if we have video of it, but when I was working on Peppy up in Michigan, I would have my table like right here. So I'm working on the motor. I think I was working on the water pump at that time. So I had the table here with my tools, and I was able to work right here, and it was raining. And so I actually had a 10x10 canopy that I put partially over the truck where it came off the canopy and off the hood. And then I was out of the rain with my tools right here, working high and dry on the truck, which was awesome. So the table, possibly a canopy if you need it. Out here in the desert, we just wait out the rain. I had a project I'm going to do today that I wanted to do a few days ago, but it was raining, so just wait for the rain to stop because it doesn't rain that much out here. Usually it dries up pretty quick too. But here's something I did this time around, working on this transmission on Clifford, because I was going to have to be laying all under the truck and everything, and I knew that I may have to drop the transmission and actually pull it out of the truck. Just out, yes, I'm next to a carport and near my buddy's house, but I'm still just working on the desert. I would do this here, I would do it in Quartzsite, I would do it boondocking, whatever. Okay, so this time I got a tarp. It was like 16 bucks at Walmart or something. I went for the little bit thicker one. I measured my wheelbase and I got one that would go wheel to wheel, so I could put weights like this on the corners, and then I just drove the truck onto it. Or the first time when the transmission wasn't working at all, I pushed the truck onto it. Autumn and I did. By having it go wheel to wheel, now the wheels will hold that tight. So if you get it tight, then the wheels will hold that tarp in place and it won't wrinkle up or anything. And you've got a nice, smooth, clean surface. You're not getting all that grit. When I was pulling the bottom of the transmission off, some of the little check balls, think about like a little BB, were falling down and they fell on that tarp. Now the key to this that makes it really nice working under there, I have sort of sprayed off generally with a pressure washer, and you can do it at a car wash or whatever, or if you have a pressure washer, the underside of the truck, so there's not a whole bunch of dirt and stuff falling. And then whenever some dust or whatever, some dirt, some grit blows onto or gets tracked onto the tarp, I always have my air gun on my compressor, and I just blow it off real quick, and I keep that blown off. If some oil or transmission fluid or something drips on there, water, I have plenty of rags on hand, and I make sure I wipe that up right away. That way I can slide around under there actually really nicely on that tarp, and it's a great work area. Something that we went to take it a step further, this is pretty hard flat ground, but when I knew I was going to have to potentially roll a heavy transmission on a transmission jack, which I grabbed this one right here at Harbor Freight. It was like $135. Well worth the investment though. There's some that are better, but this did what I needed it to do. And then I bought for, used to be like $7, but I bought a 4x8 sheet of, I think it's a 1/2 inch OSB 4x8 sheet, and I put it sideways under there. So the long way is going this way. And I did that so that I keep it under the tarp. That way if it rains or whatever, it doesn't get wet and kind of explode the wood like it will if it gets exposed to the weather. And then when I went to use my transmission jack, I actually slid the board out, slid it out to say about here, so that I could roll the transmission in and out. So that kind of brings us into tools. Most tools that I need, I have with me. I've kind of figured out, especially on these older trucks, it's pretty much the same sockets and wrenches and types of things that you're going for every time. But if there's something I don't have, like this transmission jack, I just include that in the cost of the repair. If I've got room to bring it with me, I will. If not, my buddy gets a new transmission jack. Here's another example of a tool that I didn't have that I needed on the fly, and I was able to go to Harbor Freight and pick up for 50 bucks. So when we were going through El Paso on the way out here to Arizona, our leaf spring on our camper broke clean in half. Look at that. I've never seen that happen. I don't know if you've seen that happen, but I've never seen it break just clean in half like that. But I needed an impact to get the leaf springs off and all of that. And I was looking at, I'd like to get the cordless one, but they were, I don't know, 170 bucks or something. I was able to get the leaf springs for somewhere around 60 bucks or 40 bucks or something like that at Northern Tool, actually. And then I ran over to Harbor Freight and I got this impact, which it's hefty, it's beefy, but it only cost me $49. And I can plug it in to my generator, or I could plug it in to a cord to, when we're at an RV park or here at my buddy's place. But all this stuff, anything that plugs in, we can do off our generator. If you need it, 50 bucks, now I got it. This I'll hold on to because I'll have plenty of opportunity to use this bad boy. But it is heavy. If you get a free workout in. All right, let's talk about some of the fundamental tools that we've been carrying from the beginning. This pancake air compressor we have had since when we lived in our house. That has ridden around in the back of 3 different trucks with us while we're traveling. It's been rained on and everything else, and it keeps ticking, you know, and it's like 100 and, I don't know, at the time it was probably like 120 bucks. It's probably more than that now, Lord knows, but it's held up just being rained on. I've tried to cover it a couple times, but it doesn't seem to impact it. It's kind of got that plastic shield that takes care of it. Now, if you could cover it, or if you could stow it under a camper, you got room to do that, or in a truck camper, that's even better. We have used that a lot. I do have an air impact gun that I probably can stop carrying now that I bought the one from Harbor Freight, and create some more space and some more weight that I could carry something else. So, but I've used it with that. I've got the, I've been on the side of the highway. If you watch our video from last year in Texas, and we had to change the tire on the camper, I got out the compressor, the generator to run the compressor, and then I've got a nice long air hose that I use to get the impact, and I can change tires like that on the side of the road if I need to. This impact and the generator will take the air compressor out of it, and if I upgrade at some point to a cordless impact, then we don't need the generator or the compressors. But you work with what you got. That's something I think that the way that we do this life, you don't have to be a trust fund baby. You don't have to really have much of any money. You have to be willing to work and make the money. You need to be a little bit resourceful, and you know, don't go out and buy a $150,000 RV to try it out. So anyway, so that's that, the air compressor. Here's another item, just a little bottle jack. This little bottle jack, I don't even know how big of a bottle jack it is. 6 ton. So this is a little 6-ton bottle jack. Again, you can get something like that at Harbor Freight. I think I might have got that at Lowe's or Home Depot. But that fits nicely in our toolboxes. You want to keep those upright or the oil can come out the top. That's a lesson learned. Then you get oil all over your toolbox and your jack won't work. But we can use that jack to jack up the camper, to jack up the truck, all those sorts of things. So, and it's a nice compact form. Now you're going to want to have a few wood blocks to stack underneath, so that you can jack it up a little bit, put a nice jack stand under there, which we have here. Keep a set of jack stands. Those are from Harbor Freight too, and they have lasted me years. Okay, so jack stands, and all that together, we have never had a problem jacking up what we need to jack up. How do we store the tools? Let me show you that next. Max is over here doing his thing. So we've done this a couple different ways with different trucks that we had, but with Clifford we have 2 toolboxes, and I'm not worried about showing you guys what I have in here, because honestly there's nothing in here that would be worth anything to anybody else, but it does allow us to keep functioning and to make repairs and go on down the road. But as you've seen, we don't have anything expensive at all in here. Let me address that now. That's part of the reason why I do go with the cheaper tools. Like my drill, for instance, right? It's the Walmart drill, the Hart drill. Works awesome, right here, right? And it has done everything I need to do, and if it breaks, or God forbid, some low life steals it, I think like 45 bucks, I go get a new one. Versus if I got a bunch of, you know, I don't know, one of the expensive ones. I don't bother to know the names, but you know, DeWalt's not that expensive, but some of the other pricey ones, if I have pricey tools, now I'm going to be all nervous that somebody's going to steal them all the time. Somebody steals that one, I just hope they don't break a window getting to it, and I'll be upset, but I'll go buy another one, you know. So with that said, Clifford has 2 toolboxes. We got the one up front there that came with him, and it happens to fit really well on top of our 100-gallon fuel tank. And then this toolbox you may recognize. Shoot, I think we've had this one since the beginning. Yeah, we had this one since the beginning. It was taller. It was about that much taller, and we had it in the black truck that we had when we started, and then we had it in Peppy, and now it's in Clifford, but in a modified form. What we did is my son Wyatt took his plasma cutter and cut that strip out, this here, all the way around, and then we put the top over the base that he left, and then screwed it together so we could shorten it, and now our 5th wheel will slide right over top of that and hook up, and it works as a great tailgate too, and it's easy access. by having it bolted to the bed, I can walk right up to it and get in here, okay? The other day I did a little bit more organizing. I've got a towel in case I got to wipe something wet off. That's a clean towel, that's not an oily towel. I've got a bag with like electrical stuff in it. Just got wire cutters, got a test light, you know, all your basic stuff, anything you need to do some wiring. I've got a little toolbox if I need to take some tools with me. This one used to be a really nice toolbox. Years and years ago, my nephew thought it would be a good idea to use it as a wheel chalk on my son's mud truck. I think they forgot it was there and they ran it over, but I still love it. So in here, you just got some, you know, brushes, whatever. Right now, I'm working pretty much out of the bigger toolbox, or if I need something out of here, I just grab it out of there. While it's in the truck, I'm not taking it with me, but if I was, I could set that up to take on a job or take it into the camper, that with tools I need. Pipe cutter, you got some various tape for gas lines and for water lines, odds and ends in there. These are handy. Get a little cutter right there. Those are handy for the tight spots. Back here, have some wire connectors. There's some old school ones and some new ones that I absolutely love. My buddy Brooke Loving from Loving Life's Journey turned me onto these this summer. So look at these. These are awesome. So in the middle, it's got solder. The whole thing is a shrink wrap, and then those blue bands are like a sealer. So when you take this, use a heat gun, or I just use a little butane torch, and you just keep it moving across. So you don't want to like burn through it, but it will, you twist your wires together, slide this over them. The solder, it'll melt and solder your connection that you twisted, and the blue parts will seal it, and then the outer part will shrink wrap it. Super awesome connections with those. So that's what it is right there if you want to look for it. SOPA B solder and seal connectors. That 200 piece assortment is only like 20 bucks or something. Whatever it is, it's worth it. Back there to have the toolbox from sliding back, I got a little piece of 2x4 laid in there. That way I can open my lid and get in there. Now here's where I got a bunch of screwdrivers, pliers, you know, bigger tools, that kind of thing. Then we got some stuff stored down here. Electrical cleaner spray, parts cleaner spray, little alcohol for cleaning stuff, simple greens. So there's some kind of cleaning supplies there. And we got the drill. And then in the top drawer, we got wrenches. These are all wrenches that most of them I had when we lived at our house. And what I did when I went to our garage to get ready to move out was I took 2 of everything, 2 of each kind of wrench, and then I gave the rest to my boys. When I actually went through and found out that's about what I had, I know now more what I have because I have to be a little bit more organized because we're always moving. And then in the bottom drawer is just old sockets. And again, like these big sockets, when you need the socket, go buy the socket and then you have the socket. Also another thing, if you need something, many, like I think almost every auto parts store, especially your AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Advanced Auto, have tool loaner programs. I mean, you can get pressure testers, you can get, I don't know, wheel pullers, you can get all kinds of stuff. And what you do is you go in and you pay what they would sell it for. So it might be 85 bucks for the tool, and you go use the tool for however long you want, I believe. And then you bring it back, keep your receipt and bring it back, or have it in their system, or however they do it. Ask them when you do it, and they give you all the money back. So you're able to use that tool for free and not have to carry it around. So that's another good tip for traveling and having those specialty tools that you need. All right, and then I got my bit set. Again, it's like 20 bucks from Walmart, so no major expense there. This, I have been carrying this around since we lived here in Arizona in the late 90s. I think I got that at a yard sale, and I just started putting, you know, screws and stuff. This is effectively my junk drawer. For as long as I can remember, I got to put this in there so it's good. So as long as I can remember, I've had to pop that up like that. And I've got all kinds of odds and ends in here, and you'd be shocked at how much of this stuff I actually end up using. That looks like something off of a seal for a drive shaft, I think. You know, there's some hose clamps, there's some string, there's some old water things that I would never use on our drinking water, but maybe we need it somewhere else down the road, some clips, tons and tons of different screws and bolts and nuts in the bottom. Some, you know, are bagged up. There's some rubber washers, right? Some bolts. Usually when I do a job, I'll buy a few extra of whatever nut, bolt, screw that I need. Particularly because I'm probably going to lose some or drop some. And now I try not to do that with, you know, outdoors and when I'm working under the truck, because you don't want that to end up in your tire or somebody else's. But at any rate, when I do that, I go ahead and I put the rest of the leftovers in here. And then I have used them over and over and over again. My son Jacob, God bless him, I think he felt guilty as he became older about leaving my tools out so much. And so he surprised me and bought me this nice socket set. It's just a simple set, and I can do almost everything with it. So I don't need this big drawers and drawers of stuff. I use this, and then if I need an extra socket or 1/2-inch drives or whatever, those are all in here. This is just your basic set. You know, it's got what, your 1/4-inch drive, 3/8 drive, couple extensions, bits, a bit adapter, some deep wells, you know, some shallow stuff. That combined with some of the extra sockets and stuff I carry underneath, and I have a 1/2-inch ratchet and stuff in the red toolbox, but that has done it. The other day, this was huge because I used to just have this stuff floating around. This toolbox has a lip right there, right? So I just made these little cutouts that fit in there. And this is where kind of my big junk drawer, right? So keep extra grinder stuff in there. I've got a caliper there, some saw blades, a little bin of washers. Oh, this is crazy right here. Here's something I gotta show you guys. This was terrible. Somebody had wired these backwards on the camper when we bought it, and I didn't know it. And we found that whole plug just melted. I might get more into that later. But if you buy a camper and it has one of these sort of aftermarket deals, it's not the original plug, even if it does, you might want to check your polarity on these, because it can be super dangerous. This blew out the whole, well, it didn't blow it out, but it slowly smoldered out the connector on the camper, okay, and burned out a plug, you know, at the source. So check your wiring on those. I've held on to that just so I could show you guys, and again, we've got more parts of that maybe I'll show you later. Then we got like a little air nailer that can go with the compressor. I've used that a couple times in the camper. Some rotary bits and stuff, pneumatic air hammer, which I hardly ever use. Probably don't even need that. A little bin of self-tapping screws. Those are extremely useful to have around. So that's toolbox number one. The other one that I have is this one right here. Now this is stuff, I don't even lock this one. That one I have a little padlock on it that I put on there. I'll show you that real quick. Right, can lock it up like that. And that's, as we've always said before, just to keep honest people honest. But this one here I don't even lock. I keep a kind of a grungy long sleeve shirt here in case I'm driving down the road or I'm out running around or whatever and I need to crawl under the truck for something. You know, something last minute. I can take off my clean shirt I have on, throw this on. My pants might be at risk, but at least, you know, I've got my arms and body protected from the dirt and the grease. And then just some odds and ends in here that I grab. Always grabbing channel locks out. This is some grease I had. This is where I keep kind of our extra motor oil for the generator. I don't know where that cap went. Oh, I think I had a pourer on it that broke. And then I keep funnels and sprays and all my like axle lube, all that kind of stuff. Keep that all right there so it's ready to go if I need to top off the oil or top off the tranny fluid or whatever else. I've got it right there. It's all contained. I actually put them in these battery boxes that we have here. That way if it leaks or something a little bit, you know, maybe it'll contain in there. And then there's a crate with some just odds and ends, some old parts and stuff that I pulled off that I actually have used. I had a vehicle speed sensor. I had to go in there and find and replace the one I had replaced with to solve a problem I had the other day. So keeping that stuff around is handy. Oh, I just got this at Harbor Freight. That's a pressure tester for the transmission. That's how I knew I didn't have any transmission pressure the other day. And also I believe I'll be able to do the fuel pressure, which will come in handy as we're doing our upgrades on our high pressure oil pump, our injectors, all of that stuff. Okay, but you know, just more odds and ends and stuff in here. Kind of black spray paint, some straps and whatnot. So that's kind of the odds and ends there. Again, there's nothing in here. Yeah, I'd be upset, and yeah, I'd probably try and, you know, whip somebody if I saw them getting in there. But if somebody got in there and I didn't know about it and they took some stuff, yeah, I'd be mad. I would be mad, but I wouldn't be like, you know, heartbroken. There's nothing in there really that's worth much to anybody else, I wouldn't think. Anyway, so that's our toolboxes. That's some of the tools. Right now, you know, I've also got a grinder. It's a corded grinder. I've got a circular saw that I keep with us. I use that quite a bit, cutting wood. If there's tools you don't have and you can't get, or they're too expensive to get, like this here, I built this out of 2x4s, and that is a transmission stand. So when I pulled the transmission out, I bolted this on, and then I stood it up on there so I could work on the pump and stuff with it vertical. And then I just strapped it to this pole right here with a ratchet strap and used that as the base, and it worked awesome. You know, so for the cost of like 2 2x4s and some screws I already had around and some bolts I found these bolts and stuff in my junk drawer box that I just showed you. So, and then our generator, this has been an awesome generator for us. We started with the Champion 3100 watt. It was great, and it would, I think, kind of run the AC and stuff. It's been a while, so I forget, but it pretty much ran everything we wanted. But this one is so much more portable. That one was hard to get in and out and everything. And this one, when we bought it, and I can put a link in the description below, but when we bought this, it was only like 450 bucks. It's a 2000 watt generator. I can run the tools off it. I can run most of the stuff on the camper, of course not the AC. We ran Christmas lights off it. We set it out here by the road by my buddy's place out here, and put Christmas lights on the fence, and that's each night I'd go start it up, and hardly used any gas because it never got out of economy mode to run some Christmas lights. So that was pretty awesome. You know, it's just about being mobile, being creative. Some of those tips hopefully are helpful on where you can buy some of the cheap tools if you only need them once or twice, or whatever. Harbor Freight usually is a good option. If it's something you know you're going to use a lot, spend a little bit more money on it. Get the Craftsman or Snap-on or whatever you like. I'm a Craftsman guy. You know, here's something else too, something you can use, where to get the cheap stuff, how to build some of the stuff. But something that you can use is something that's not intended for the purpose. So this little ditty here, this 40 quart little hefty container, I got it at Walmart, I don't know, $5 or $6, $7, $8, I don't know what it was. That's what I used to drain my transmission fluid when I was draining all the fluid out of here. And then I just used one of my big funnels there, had some empty oil jugs from changing the oil, and I took that and was able to pretty easily tip it up without too much mess and pour it into the jugs and take care of it. So that worked really well too. And then I don't have to carry that with me, right? I just would include that in the cost of doing the oil change or what have you, and then I can, you know, throw it out. One other tip, I'll get into it later, but we've done some things on how we change our oil. I'll show you how we change our oil another day. I just got all these things going through my head now that I want to share with you guys. But at any rate, today, what's on the agenda, we've done some improvements with the mirrors and the lights. We got all that wired up. I'll go over all of that stuff in another video. This is getting a little long here. Today we're going to work on the transmission, drop the pan. I'm wondering if I didn't get a check ball out of place or something, because before I opened up the transmission I had no problems with reverse or forward. Then when I lost pressure, my pump went out, I had nothing. And then when I took it all apart, all the way down to, you know, the check balls and everything in there, and I put them back in, I used like an engine assembly grease to hold them up in there while I put the gasket up. You're supposed to use a transmission assembly grease. I'm wondering if that kind of gummed up the works, because maybe it takes a higher temperature to melt. Or did I get a ball out of place? I'm hoping that's the case, because now I don't have reverse, but all of forward is great. So We're gonna dive into there today, see if I made a mistake in there. That's what we're doing today. Today, for instance, I'll need a 8mm, a 10mm socket. I'll use my little Walmart drill with an adapter for the sockets. I've got a torque wrench that I bought that I carry because you want to torque things the right way. And that's pretty much what I'm gonna need. Oh, and then I got like a little $6 pump from Harbor Freight. Inside in this toolbox here, I can pump that good clean transmission fluid out of there directly into the quart jugs that it came in, because I held onto those for a minute in case this happened. Then I'll be able to put it back in without it ever touching the air or the dirt. It'd be a little more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. So we're gonna pull that down, check all that out, and hopefully at the end of the day we find something, a smoking gun, on why we suddenly don't have reverse. If not, I'll get back with you, because we're looking at either a rebuild or a swap of a whole transmission. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. I hope some of this helps you guys to see how you can work on your trucks and on your RVs on the road, how you can carry your tools, where you can get tools, all that kind of thing. If you find value in this stuff, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave us a comment. We love seeing the comments. We try and get back to as many as we can. It's good to be back to shooting videos. We're gonna have a great day. We hope that you have a great day, and we'll catch up with you next time. Bye, y'all. Hopefully Kimberly's here then. Here's a couple of bonus things I forgot about. Harbor Freight also has the nitro gloves. I like the 9mm. They don't really rip up on you when you're working on the truck, and they're only a couple bucks more. It's like they are pretty pricey though to me. I think they're 15 bucks or so, plus or minus a couple dollars for like 50 of them, but invaluable when working on the truck. Or I use these also when doing the septic and the Blue Boy and all of that stuff. And then the other thing is a box of, or even just a roll of, I got a box because I was doing all this work on the transmission, but a roll of shop towels. They got them at Walmart for a few dollars. That can be really handy too, so you don't have a bunch of dirty rags and all that kind of thing. A couple more tips. Hold on. Invest in a nice charger. This is what I use. It plugs in. I can run this off my generator. This has saved our bacon. We're out boondocking, leave the light on or something and the battery goes dead. On the camper or the truck, plug this into the generator and we'll get that battery back up in no time. It does have like a trickle charge, a 30 amp boost charge, and then it has a starting function. And the instructions for how to do all of that are right on top of the charger. We use this all the time. Definitely invest in a good one. When I'm talking good one, this one we got at Walmart. It was like the best one Walmart had, so there you go. Shouldn't break the bank too bad. Let me get back to setting up for today's job. Y'all have a great day.